And we are good. And what is up, everyone? How's it going? How is your Thursday or Friday or whenever it is that I uploaded this? I'm recording this on January the 26th of the year 2022 or I should say at roughly about exactly 10:52 p.m. How's it going, everyone? It is yours truly. You may think that it is Tito, but it is indeed not Tito. It is, of course, for the first time ever on the Tito Speaks podcast, the Batman. Cue applause. Yes, somehow this small, little-known character that is a late-night vigilante, which is me, somehow got a spot on the biggest possible podcast of all time. I don't know how it happened, but, here we are. For those of you that may have heard lately, Tito supposedly got kidnapped, I heard, a week or two ago now? He didn't do his podcast because, I know that everyone on Earth listens to the podcast, so everyone's more up to date than me. I don't really listen to podcasts. I'm too busy fighting crime because I'm Batman. But yeah, guys, how you doing, guys? For those of you that might be wondering, I somehow have access to all of Tito's memories and thoughts because I'm Batman, and that's just the way things work. So, I'm just going to talk as if I'm him. But, we're just going to go through, some stuff that I've been going through. How's things? How you guys been? How's your week been? You guys been up to no good? I hope so. Up to no good, some good, any level of good is good enough for me and the citizens of Gotham City. But, guys, I've been up to quite a bit in the last week besides fighting crime. I actually did a little bit of shopping in the last few days, and you may or may not be able to tell. I assume that everyone can just tell of all the billions of people that are so hawk-eyed, laser-focused on every nuanced detail of these videos, that you may have noticed that I actually have a brand new setup. Cue applause again. But yeah, guys, I bought a new monitor. I've been running single monitors. Some of you may know from the stream, or I might have mentioned on podcast before, that I have a single monitor PC setup, which I've had for like the last, I think the Christmas of 2020. So the first COVID Christmas. It's so weird to say the first COVID Christmas as if it's like the fact, we've actually had, we've had two COVID Christmases. Wow, that's weird. But I got finally, just this past week, I've been meaning to get a second monitor, and something you can tell for all you podcast watchers, if you're watching this on YouTube, I only post the video on YouTube, but if you're audibly listening, I bought a new arm, one of these extendo arms. I'll give a little sample for you video people, and I'm sure you auditory listeners can appreciate the sounds of a slight swivel. But yeah, it looks very professional, super profesh. Before, if you notice, I'd have to bend down. Me meaning Tito and everyone else that has streamed on this podcast would normally have to bend down to speak into the mic or whatever, and it was kind of annoying. So, my billionaire alternate persona Bruce Wayne funded a little bit of add a little bit of clout to the stream, a little bit of not clout, but a little bit of add a little bit of a pizzazz, a little bit of, I threw in a little bit of some of the dough, some of the guap into the stream, into the channel, so to speak. But yeah, I'm running second monitor now. It's just so much more efficient. I haven't ran the first stream with the monitor yet, so I'm excited to do that. Might do that, depending on when you're watching this, tomorrow from the point of me recording. So if I post this Thursday and I recorded Wednesday, then possibly Thursday night I'll do the first stream in my new setup. But yeah, I got I had to deal with all the cable management and stuff, and rearrange things slightly. It's always a fun little mini task to reorganize when you get new gear. So it's so much better for my workflow and everything, because at my other job, I actually my last two jobs, I had a second monitor, and it was so efficient, honestly, that you just have that second screen to have like a schedule or something. You have the one main monitor, you have a secondary one, if you're like, I don't know, doing whatever, you're like listening to music in the background, you're pulling up files for work or something, or you just have a schedule up. It's just so much it just feels like it's like imagine having one monitor but two instead. Wow. Amazing metaphor that is very literal and has no separate, literally the laziest non-comparison I've ever made. But I'm Batman. I don't, whatever I do, it's going to be revered. Everyone just loves Batman no matter what he does, right? So congrats to me. Thank you guys. I like to imagine I can hear an applause right now. But yeah, like it wasn't even just that. Literally moments, I'd say from the last few hours until the point that I am recording, I also, so just for context, yesterday being Tuesday is when I bought the new monitor, the new, mic arm stand thing. I've heard it called as a boom arm. It's like the Rode branded one, it's like the swivel thingy. We'll call it a boom arm. That's what I've heard it called as, but I've heard multiple names. But when I bought those at Canada Computers, shout out Canada Computers, any of you PC people or computer people likely have that as one of your main destinations if you're not going to Amazon or sometimes Best Buy. But I feel like if you're one of those hardcore build your PC type people and all that, or any sort of PC gear, Canada Computers is a go-to. But there's a few near me, and there was a monitor I've been having my eye on, with the specs that I want. So I got that for a pretty good deal and went on a work break to get that and then set it up after work. And it's been great ever since. And it's been happily ever after ever since until now. But then I've had this whole other thing, honestly. It was like this. Okay, so for the last while, I'll give you context. Basically, I had my whole computer setup, my whole desk setup was out in the kind of communal area of the basement of my house. I live with my family, and in that communal space, we had like a little workout area. We have the TV area, so it's kind of during the day it's fine when I'm working, but in the evening hours when I more so want to do the Tito stuff and everything, it gets a little hectic in terms of people wanting to do other stuff. It's a shared space, it's communal. We gotta take turns, so people were like either wanted to watch TV or work out or something all around the time that, I've been trying. If you notice, of course, I've been having a lot more output across these platforms. So naturally that requires more time. And yeah, it just kind of got a little hectic of, trying to work around other people's schedules because I'm trying to do stuff earlier in the day. Funny enough, I say that because it is 11 p.m., but this all leads to something else. But anyways, there's a reason why I'm doing this podcast so late, and I will get to that. But yeah, I got a little too hectic having my space there. So I started to debate the notion of having my desk set up in my room. And I was always kind of against that, mainly for the fact that I know I've heard things of like, it's not the best to have your setup in your room and all that, because you kind of get cooped up, and then the whole thing about having mental separation of that or whatever. And I was, thought I could hold off on that, but it honestly got to the point of, I would have to schedule around so much in that open area just so, like if I wanted to stream, like it's fine if I wanted to do video editing or something, that's fine. But if I wanted to stream, do a podcast, it's kind of annoying when you have like, sounds in the back and all that. And, it could be an added quality, but I didn't want to have to work around anyone else to do it. So I made a call, a mental call to move my whole setup basically into the bedroom, into my room where familiar space. I've actually, a lot of the spots around the house are probably recognizable from the skits. The cashier skits were actually filmed in that open area that I'm talking about. That's where I mainly did all that stuff. And then at a certain point is where I put my desk set up there. Because I didn't have when I started Tito, or I should say, yeah, I'm Tito. Batman speaking is Tito. When we started the channel, it was like I only had like a MacBook, so I didn't have like a whole desk setup, and it wasn't as important. But now, slowly had to upgrade, get the new gear and everything, as you naturally do throughout the years, as you get a little more advanced and skilled in your craft. Bottom line is that today I pulled the trigger on, I made the call because it was on and off. I kept having those discussions. People in the house like help me, like my parents and stuff like help me. Think about rearranging the space and everything. I had to measure out everything. Move up. The thing is too that makes it a whole hassle for me in particular in the house is that I have a lot of stuff. I'm one of those people that has a lot of clutter, and I've mentioned it on the podcast previously and possibly on stream, but I'm or used to be a bigger collector. I slowed down a bit. I still collect here and there, but I have like a major like Blu-ray collection. I had like a TV in my room. I have like all these knickknacks and things, books, boxes of things, and a lot of that sat on a shelf. So in my room, I had two shelves in front of my bed, and my TV was on one, and that area where the TV is basically the only viable place. Let's just say, without getting into too much details, that's the only spot that would work for me to have my desk. And I decided to put it there. But the thing is, obviously, there has to be a trade-off. And basically, long story short, I thought to basically take out the shelf that the TV was on, and then another shelf beside it, kind of flip that around and then put my TV on that. It's this whole like, you get the general vibe that basically rearranging the whole space was the bottom line. You don't need to know the minutia of it unless, you can message in the chat if there's a big demand to know the exact details and specs of what I did to change the room. You may ask, but at the same time, I might, when we do videos, you'll probably end up seeing it and you'll notice a difference. The thing that I'll say is that if you notice the majority of the videos in the last while that are filmed in my room, that space, like basically where I'm gonna point like where I'm looking at you, and for you auditory listeners, you can imagine this if you have very strong imagination or projection. I don't know what the term is, if you could just fully imagine what I'm talking about, but the direction I'm currently looking is where my TV was, and behind me is where my bed is, and you can kind of maybe deduce from the videos the layout. But I had to do a whole like moving around, and then it led to, it's one of those domino effects. You move one thing and then we moved a bunch of other stuff, and the basement was semi low level rearranged, which is nice, and I don't know if it makes more sense now. Who knows if I'll regret this layout later, but right now, as of now, in this moment, this being the very first thing that I'm doing since moving this, I can confirm I like it. It's good. The only thing is that I will say is that my bed is literally right to the side here, and my green screen, or I should say the space, where I play, somehow my videos are playing in the back, right? You see my videos playing in the back? The area where my videos play in the back is basically it only goes up to here. So unless I move my bed, I can't get the green screen to go that way. But yeah, it's we work around, right? I just have to adjust things a bit, and it for the most part it worked out. That's all you guys need to know. You don't need to know the ins. That's the movie magic. That's all you got. I could have probably not said anything, and no one would know any different. But I like to give you guys a little sneak peek into the life of Batman's alter ego, Bruce Wayne, billionaire, playboy Bruce Wayne. Guys, let's take a little drinky break. Oh yeah, that's good stuff. Sipping on that agua, that ice cold agua. Yeah, but it honestly, it's like I wanted to be able to make whatever sounds without people like working around me and stuff. Again, I'm just like relieved that I'm able to just do what I gotta do and not, interrupt people's ability to do stuff, and then vice versa. It's a win-win. It's a win-win. And I think the next step is soundproofing the door so no one can hear the crimes I'm committing. It's pretty good as of now, because currently, as we speak, there's someone working out in that main area that I was talking about. And actually, you can let me know if you hear anything, and then if you actually happen to hear anything, then all of this will have been in vain. No, it's actually not as big a deal. It wouldn't be nearly as loud as it would have been if I was out there. But I'm actually curious. Like, let me know, guys, if you personally hear any background noise. Unless, when this is being edited, I'll find out. And then maybe, who knows, maybe you'll never see this. Actually, this never supposed to be seen, because as we all know, meaning me, this is a personal. These are my personal files that do not see the light of day. So I really hope that no one ever listens to this. And yeah, this is totally my space for me to say all my incriminating things as a vigilante of the night. But yeah, guys, speaking of Batman, speaking of me, and the fact that I was buying all this stuff, I got, my thing is that with my spending, it's typically, I said I was a collector, right? But like my spending lately, for the most part, it tends to be on stuff that I find somewhat, I like to say it's to be put to good use, like whether it's this second monitor or boom arm or whatever. But this weekend, I actually was out and about with a friend to get Batman merch, meaning my merch, for the new Robert Pattinson Batman movie. Yes, the Batman, the one coming out. What is it, in March 4th? I can't stop counting down the days, guys. I can't stress how incredibly excited I am for that movie. It is like, the thing is, like, literally in the past week, my hype has jumped exponentially, and I feel like you guys could maybe understand why, because if you are aware from the internets and all the realms of the interwebs, that there has been so much stuff posted, whether it's like the new trailers, the TV spots, posters. They're really kicking it. It's usually, marketing. It's usually really kicked into high gear in those last few months before the movie comes out. And I think the one that really put it over the edge for me, because I was already super hyped. I said before how I watched that the two main trailers, the original one that has the Nirvana song, the one from the DC Fandom event. Well, actually, both of them were at those events. And then the second one that was more of like an action-y trailer. Like, I watched those trailers a billion times. Mainly that first one, though, I think it has a case for being one of the best trailers of all time. That original teaser trailer where he's like, "I'm vengeance," after punching the guy a million times. Meaning me. I did that. But yeah, it was that did something. I feel like I've beaten this to death. I don't even know if I have. Have I spoken on this enough, guys? Let me know if I've spoken on this enough. But I love that dingy, grungy feel that this movie seems to have. That none of the, I'm pretty sure none. I'm almost certain. Yeah, none of the movies that I could think of like have done that vibe. I mentioned about the comparisons that I had from Daredevil and saying how I would want it to be like that, and like that. Honestly, it's in that vein. Where I'd also make the comparison to, like, David Fincher's movies. I might have said that already. But this one in particular, it seems to also be really going into, the characterization and, like, the psyche and thought process of the duality of Bruce Wayne and Batman. And I don't want to... Okay, I saw... For those of you that care about, like, spoil... I didn't even, like, spoil anything, but if you care about, like, the fact that I saw that clip, there was this weird clip that came out. It's so bizarre. I still don't understand what it was exactly, but I said how I got hyped over the last week. It's because of this clip that I watched. This scene from the movie, it was apparently officially released, at least as like it was attached before, like the YouTube ads. That's what I heard it was, because every version of it I've seen online is some kind of screen recording or filming the screen, but it was officially, from my knowledge, it was officially released. But I did see, it's weird, in some, if you see it on YouTube, it's like sometimes it has those little, it's like it's a screen recording showing that you could skip the video or something. So it looks like it was an ad playing on YouTube, which is so weird. But it's a scene that you can, it's something from the trailers. Like, there's nothing really in it that doesn't show in the trailer so far. Everything is really shown in the trailer. So if you care about spoilers, skip to, let's say, spool through a little bit, and hopefully I'm not talking about it. But if you don't, like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But I'll say I'm going to disclaim what it is for those of you that care. Because I know I don't have the willpower to not watch those clips. But anyways, it's such a simple scene, though. It's like, okay, I'm speaking about it now. It's that funeral scene that you could see in the trailers. Like, you can see it, like, you know, that looks like a memorial. It looks like there's that big photo of the person that passed. We don't know who it is. We know that, you know, like, Bruce Wayne's there. We know that that there's a car. I don't want to. It doesn't. Oh, no, yeah, it shows it in the trailer. Yeah, it shows it in that first teaser. But this clip basically shows it, that it's like Bruce Wayne talking to someone, supposedly someone running for mayor at the funeral, and then the car. There's a point where. Wait, sorry, I have to, like, I'm a little too excited. So he's, you know, the funny thing is that he also doesn't talk the whole clip. It's just the mayor talking to him, saying about, like there's a bit in the trailer too where she's saying about, Bruce Wayne, like, you know, like, you don't seem to really be doing anything for the city. So, and then it kind of the trailer intercuts with him being Batman, so it's like ironic. But this version of Bruce, like, you know, he's very reserved. He's not that outgoing playboy that we've come to know as his alter ego, you know? It seems he's very, like, it's almost like he's staying, like, in his, like he's truly Batman at all times, which I love. And I was going to get into, but anyways, he sees that, like, it looks like either the son, it doesn't say outright, but he looks at a kid that's sitting at the front row of the funeral, and they make eye contact, and there's something about the way of, like, he's looking at him and the kid looks at him that you could tell it's like, you know, Bruce acknowledging the whole, you know, he's been in the same dilemma. He's lost, supposedly in this case we can assume it's the parents. We don't know for sure, but that look kind of tells it all, you know. And then there's a bit where right after that, Bruce, like, kind of turns, and he's the first one to really notice, like, the slight noise in the distance. And then right after that, everyone else turns, and they notice, you hear this screeching, tires screeching from outside, and it sounds like, you know, from a distance, sounds like a car. And then, you know, you could tell the way it's just filmed, you could tell it's Bruce, like, fully, like, assessing the situation. He's staying calm, but, like, very, like, you know, alert. And everyone else is kind of, like, on, like, oh, like, you know, typical mob mentality, like, panic mentality. And then all of a sudden, this car that's all graffitied, this kind of truck or whatever, or van, no, more of like a truck, like, crashes through the building, and, like, the church or whatever, I think it's a church, and, like, drives all the way to the front, and Bruce, like, immediately lunges, like, his first thought is to save the kid, and he just jumps, dives, and saves that kid, and then the car crashes, and then we find out, you know, like, I didn't even say the other thing, like, I'm all over the place, but there's this other bit just before that, basically with Bruce listening in on Gordon, who is talking to, like, some of the police guys. This is something that's not in the trailer, so I won't say too much, because it gives a little more context to what's going on. But basically, they say how there's someone, like, as if it's, like, this has been happening, and, you know, we know that the Riddler's kind of what's going on in this movie, so possibly something to do with the Riddler, that Bruce listens in on Gordon talking to, you know, two of his sergeants or whatever, about how this one, I think he's a cop, also a fellow, like, officer, has been missing since the previous night, and this one guy, like, as they're talking, like, notices Bruce eavesdropping, but like more so that he just like notices it's Bruce Wayne, and he's like, "Oh, Mr. Wayne," and then like they all turn to him, but Bruce kind of like he doesn't do the regular Bruce. This is the thing I was saying, like he doesn't do that regular Bruce thing where he's like, "Oh, hey," like, you know, like really like playing up the whole billionaire playboy thing, like, you know, that Christian Bale American Psycho vibe. He's not doing that. He's more very brooding, like he's literally being Batman. And he's like, you know, his hair's down and it's like look kind of gothic, and he like, you know, he looks over to he just kind of he gives like a side eye, and then he kind of like turns like as if to not like give attention to himself, and then they kind of like whatever, like, okay, this guy's just like some spoiled brat or whatever, that just some weirdo spoiled brat that had a weird upbringing. In a way, yeah, I think he definitely had different kind of upbringing, but anyways, after all that, and then I say about like that car crashes through Gordon and all there's a bunch of officers there. So we're guessing, I can assume safely without knowing all the details, that the funeral is police related. It's got to be someone of merit in the city, because there's all these like big honchos there. You know, that person running for mayor, the fact that Bruce is even there, and then the Gordon and the other cops are there. So for sure it's someone in terms of like government, law enforcement or something that passed away. And I think even that photo that you can see in the trailers looks like it's like, I don't know if it's them in uniform or something. But anyways, the guy who comes, this is also from the trailer. So after Gordon surrounds the car with all the cops, you know, aiming their guns, telling them, get out, get your hands up and all that. The guy comes out, and he's like all duct taped up, and then he has like something around his neck, and his mouth is taped up and like duct tape, you know. And then he comes out slowly, you know, not trying to be a threat, but we see that he has like a phone like strapped to his hand, I think it was, and some kind of letter strapped to him, or I should say taped to him. And someone remarks as soon as he steps out that like, oh, he's got a bomb around his neck. And then this is one of my favorite bits, that everyone like panics. Everyone like ducks or panics, almost runs away, but they are also like still weirdly, they're not running. They're still like, I think they're still curious, and they're still just there, but they like duck, and they're like, you know, hiding a little bit, bent down. But Bruce literally just stands still. He's just completely maintains like he's like this cautious, badass, but like also like you could tell he's just, I don't want to say unaffected because he's totally like alert, but he's more or less unaffected by the situation in terms of he's more curious. And like the thing that I love about it is that it's just that you could tell that he's not really trying to hide the fact that he's Batman, or at least this is a thing that I saw people comment, and I don't know this at this point. This is all speculation, and I don't know what they're gonna do, but I would love the idea. And again, I have seen people message this in comments and stuff, like, you know, write this in comments, that from what we see in the trailer, and then like I said in this clip, Bruce looks like he's very much foregoing, or he hasn't even adopted that, you know, playboy, like upbeat, snobby persona that he's known to have, like that, like that whole, like, you know, that rich people laugh vibe that he should have. And he's very much Batman in real life. And I think that what this movie, it seems like it's going to be doing because of that, is it seems like he's more so, just like in the comics and in the other movies, it's showing that he is more so Batman, like in his soul. Like he is more Batman than he is Bruce Wayne, you know? And I love that. And it's like, it's seeping into his real life. And it's like he almost, like, not to say he's not making any effort, but he's definitely not hiding it as best he could. Because, and I think the thing I'm saying, okay, so in the trailers, another potential spoiler, spoiler again if you may or may not have seen the trailers, but it's literally in the trailer that Riddler, I think it's the third trailer, so you might not know from all of them, second or third trailer, I don't want to say for sure, but in general, it shows that Riddler knows that he's Bruce Wayne, okay? So that's kind of a big deal. Like, not a lot of villains know that. Like, I know some do, and it's a big deal. You know, whoever knows the hero's alter ego is got some leverage on them. But I think because of that, that might make Bruce adopt by the end of the movie. I'd assume he may adopt that billionaire persona. So it'll be cool to see the growth, because like the other movies haven't really shown that. Like even I love Batman Begins, and that's the only origin movie out of all the live action movies. Like, you know, the Tim Burton, Joel Schumacher stuff where he's just already Batman. This Begins, like it was a great origin movie, but it didn't really dive into the thing of the duality of Bruce Wayne and Batman as much in terms of, you know, like how it affects his real, like obviously it shows how it affects his personal life, but it doesn't show how he puts on that front as much, you know, because it seems like in this one it's really showing that he just is Batman all the time. And I love the idea that he has to evolve into acting like Bruce Wayne. So I don't know if that's what they're going to do. Maybe they'll have him be like, I honestly wouldn't even be mad totally if he just acts like this all the time. But Matt Reeves, the director, has said that, you know, it's early on in the career. Like he says year 2. So he's been Batman for a bit. He's known to be Batman, but it's like he's like kind of like a local legend. But he's not, I don't think he's as big as like what he's gonna be in the city. Like he is known, but he's not like fully established. But I think that from what we see, like he already works with the cops. He works with Gordon, so that's really cool. And that's honestly like that trailer. Just like it did multiple things. I love the angle of Bruce. Like, I think that was my favorite thing overall. The portrayal of like just the way that the Riddler stuff happened. Oh, and they didn't even say in that bit where the car comes, Riddler, you see him like appear on the balcony right in broad daylight, which kind of like, I love that it like shows that he's basically like fully in control of the situation in terms of like he wouldn't do that if he wasn't confident that, you know, like he could get away with it. And like the fact that, because like he knows that no one's going to react to him when there's someone about to drive. It's literally right when that car's about to drive through. And yeah, like he just pops in just to like mock Bruce. He was looking right at him. I think he for sure knows that it's Bruce. Like and Bruce makes eye contact with him right before the car crashes. So that's just sick. And I love, you know, Paul Dano is like a sick. Is it Dano? I still don't know till this day. I've heard Dano and Dano. I used to say Paul Dano like most of the time, and then Paul Dano. Let's say short A. Let's say Paul Dano. But you know, he's like he's like the perfect person to play the Riddler in the sense of, I don't know, they're definitely going for the creepy vibe, but I don't know if they're going for the twerpy, you know, like he's kind of like a geek in the other incarnations. And, you know, you see him wearing, not to say that, oh, if you wear glasses, you're a geek, but you could tell obviously like Riddler, like he's always been portrayed as like an intellectual, and Paul Dano has always been shown as like, you know, kind of like he's like he can be viewed as like a Weasley, not like Ron Weasley, but like a Weasley kind of like presence, you know, like watch him in There Will Be Blood, in I want to, oh shoot, what was the in Prisoners and There Will Be Blood are like the two main ones that if those don't like tell you that guy could play Riddler, then, you know, because like there's just the fact that he acted alongside Daniel Day-Lewis. Everyone will say that Daniel Day-Lewis outshined him. That's correct grammar. That he outshone him in There Will Be Blood, but you know, he held his own in my opinion. Like he's definitely not like, you know, Daniel Day-Lewis is just Daniel Day-Lewis. He's a one of one, and like that's a whole other topic. I can get into him. He's one of my favorite actors of all time, Daniel Day-Lewis. But no, Paul Dano, like I think he's a sick choice to play Riddler, and I'm curious if they're gonna have him do. He seems to be doing this kind of, I don't know if it's a voice modulator. It seems like it's a voice modulator that he's using to hide his voice, and even when he's speaking regularly, he's speaking more like this. I don't know if he's gonna ever like speak in more of his more, because in his other movies when you hear, it's funny, like in There Will Be Blood, like he has that like voice crack. He has that like eternal youthful voice. Because he's got to be like late 30s, maybe even 40 now. I don't know how old I think he's going to be late mid 30s at this point. But he's like the type that he's like there's that one bit in There Will Be Blood. He's like, get out of here, ghost, get out of here, ghost, because he's for people with I think I've gone mad, for context, in that movie he plays this weirdo pastor that's like very annoying, and there's a scene where he's like doing this like this is like back in like early 1900s, I think, like what is this, like Industrial Revolution times, where he's like this like it's in the middle of like when the oil boom, whenever that was, like when the oil rigs were when they were first mining oil, and he would hold these like sermons or whatever, and like these crazy kind of like loud preacher. It's like that. It's almost in the vibe of that. You ever watch that? I think it's Benny Hinn, the guy that hits people with his jacket. That's goated. That's that guy. They said that guy should have been in the Avengers, but because he has a magic coat. But like people with like the very bizarre rituals. Like these kind of, I don't want to say fanatical, like kind of weird, kind of religious types. He's one of those in that movie. But he's like, bottom line is he's very snivelly, and he has a voice crack, and it's like I would actually love if they did that in the Batman, and for him to actually do that would be amazing. But yeah, I'm excited for that. Obviously, Selena Kyle's, Zoe Kravitz. Can't go wrong with Zoe Kravitz. We do like Zoe Kravitz. But no, she looks legitimately badass as Selena. I honestly, like, I couldn't have thought of like a more on point casting. Like, she's honestly, like, she perfectly gives off the vibe. Like, more so, I'd say on par. Like, Anne Hathaway was okay, and Anne Hathaway was good, but she wasn't as like, there's a certain kind of quality that Selena Kyle has that I think that Zoe Kravitz has, and I think Michelle Pfeiffer had. Michelle Pfeiffer's the OG, but I forgot the name of the one from the 60s series. But I think this one could trump. Honestly, like, I'm a little too excited for the movie. Like, I'm scared at how excited I am. I didn't think this until the other day when I was driving. I was coming home, or was that even today? Man, I'm like, I mix up the time periods. The time goes by weird in these parts in the Gotham City. But like I realized that I was like, man, I don't think I've been as excited for a movie like this since The Dark Knight. And I'll give you guys a little bit of context. I don't know if I talked about this before, but The Dark Knight is the movie that made me aware of like didn't make me aware, but it was the first movie that I was actively interested in as a kid, and actively like researching on the internet and stuff, like all sorts of behind the scenes before the movie came out, like before even Heath Ledger passed away. Like, I literally vividly remember, I can actually distinctly like recite like when I remember hearing that he was casted as the Joker, and telling people about it. And like, I didn't really know too much about him. All I knew was that, the big thing is that he was, the gay cowboy in Brokeback Mountain, and everyone's like, what, the gay cowboy from Brokeback Mountain? That's the pretty boy and stuff. Like, he can't be the Joker. But as soon as that first teaser came out, like, okay, all I remember is that I trusted and I love Batman Begins. I saw Batman Begins with my dad and my brother, and as soon as you see that Joker card at the end, I knew that I was like in for, like, because I love the realistic, grounded take that Batman Begins did, and I was like, so like my gears, in my mental gears started going, like, because the Joker is like my favorite fictional character of all time. People will say he's overdone and stuff, but Mark Hamill, like, that's childhood right there. Animated series, even Batman Beyond. You can't. Mark Hamill just is the Joker. Bottom line, you can't tell me any different. And imagine just like, for people of my generation, maybe a little older, a little younger, like, people grew up on Mark Hamill as the Joker. Mark Hamill's voice is what you imagine as the Joker, and that's what I had going into, like, the wondering of what the next take could be, because I love Jack Nicholson too. I actually legitimately love Jack Nicholson's also, but I thought there was room for like a different take, and that's what Heath Ledger thought too. So when he was casted, I didn't know what to think, because like I remember when I told my dad about it, when I heard about it as a kid, because I was like 13, 14, and I didn't really know about it too much about him. I think I might have seen 10 Things I Hate About You as a kid, and I knew about some of his movies. Like, I remember, what's that, Knight's Tale or something like that. And what was the other one? I knew he was in. Did Brothers Grimm already come out by then? So I knew his face and I knew what he was in and stuff, and I knew he was like, oh wow, this guy's like a younger, pretty, like he's like a, like he almost became that typecast pretty boy actor. But I can't really, the cool thing about him is that I couldn't really think of a comparison. There was no one else like him really. Like he wasn't like a Brad Pitt or anything. He was like his own thing because he had a deeper voice, but he was like a tall, kind of lanky guy. But good looking guy. We can't go wrong saying that. It was objectively the truth. Like he was just a good looking guy, and like I think he first defied expectations when he did Brokeback Mountain, and no one really thought that he could, like he obviously was like revered. Him and Jake Gyllenhaal, like two goated actors, did the thing in that movie, literally and figuratively. But it's actually, I watched that movie. It's actually a beautiful movie. But like back then, like the times and stuff. It was starting to be a little bit progressive, but like people were a little more like, there was more like jokes about that. Like today I don't think today if they made a movie like that, they wouldn't be joking about it. But back then, I can confirm in 2005, there were jokes. The fact that, what is it, Scary Movie 3 or 4, there were scenes making fun of Brokeback Mountain. And I think, if it's all in good fun and everything, it's chill. But, it was a target, and that was like the image that those two actors had in a post-Ang Lee Hulk era of Ang Lee. For context, yeah, Ang Lee directed that movie, who directed the Eric Bana Hulk. But yeah, like it was definitely, it was the favorite at the Oscars, but it was snub. What was it? Crash won. I talk as if everyone's gonna know this stuff. Like, but you know what? You might know. I'm just a big movie guy, but like I just remember. I'm pretty sure it was that year. It was the favorite, but then I think it was the upset that the movie Crash won. The one that's like it's almost like a Pulp Fiction knockoff, sort of, where it's like a interwoven non-linear storyline. But yeah, it was the upset that Brokeback Mountain didn't win. And yeah, I think that was the same year. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. If you or correct me audibly out loud with your voice if I'm wrong. But the other thing is that, okay, I'm literally just circling around to him being cast. I like to give as you could tell, I like to give a lot of background to things, but I'm trying to get to, like just give a little background to the kind of actor this guy is. But I think Brokeback Mountain, weirdly, even though it was like about, gay cowboys, it's a love story. It's a love story, bottom line. But it wasn't like the movie that you would think that someone that could play the Joker could play. But the slightest threads, or just the fact that you could tell him as an actor was trying to break out of doing that typical pretty boy thing, because it was not that. And when he was cast, I remember my dad was just like, yeah, that's gonna be like a serious, like they're gonna be pretty serious, because he's like a serious actor, but I don't think people really accepted him as that yet. Like he was, I think he always had like the special presence to him. Like if you watch back his movies, Lords of Dogtown 2 is another one. Lords of Dogtown is actually probably my second favorite role of his to The Dark Knight. And I think the thing with Heath Ledger, like especially in The Dark Knight, but like even in that movie, in Lords of Dogtown and Brokeback Mountain, he literally dives into the role like Daniel Day-Lewis or like Gary Oldman, where he's just one of those serious actors that gives it their all, and like they lose themselves in the role. Like Christian Bale does that too. But he just, like when he was cast, like I just remember before there was any teasers, everyone was like, "Oh, this guy can't be the Joker. This guy can't do that. Like this is the, like." And again, in my mind, it was like I thought that what had to be right was doing it like Mark Hamill, because, and it's funny enough because Mark Hamill's is loosely based on, because the animated series is based on the Tim Burton series, like at least the aesthetic. A lot of it is taken from that. And I think very loosely they took the Joker, from Jack Nicholson's, but like it became like Mark Hamill made it his own 100% and eclipsed Jack Nicholson. But I'd say honestly that as soon as that, okay, if you guys remember or look it up, that first teaser, as soon as that first teaser dropped, 2007, a year before the movie came out or a little more, there was a teaser where it was just that scene of Alfred and Bruce talking with what was it, with the bat logo emerging slowly in the background as they're talking, like these these flashes of blue fire or light flashing from behind, like revealing the bat. But like it's that oh, it's so good. I can literally recite it, but it's like that bit where Bruce is like, I knew the mob wouldn't go down without a fight, but this is different. They crossed the line. And then Alfred's like, you crossed the line first, sir. You hammered them. And in their desperation, they turned to a man they didn't fully understand. Some men aren't looking for anything logical. They can't be bought, bullied, reasoned, or negotiated with. Some men just want to watch the world burn. And then, like, just with that, like, so it's like you give this context to this guy that it's like, okay, the mob go to this guy that's like something else, you know, and then all of a sudden you hear this crazy voice that sounds nothing like anything that we've heard before. And he's like, starting tonight, people will die. I'm a man of my word. That, as soon as you hear that, and then the Joker card flies at the screen, like the one at the end of the Dark. I don't know if it's the same one at the end of the Dark Knight, or end of Batman Begins, but as soon as I heard that voice, like I was like, what? And then it's funny, no one had to see anything yet. Everyone shut up. I can confirm everyone on the internet completely shut up. And I love it because I don't want to say it like as if, you know, I never care about that I told you so stuff, but it was like, kind of I told you so. Like I knew it was going to be sick. And it's like, I was already so excited. I think with me, it wasn't as much about him. It was about him. And I had the hope that he would be blessed. Cause like, you know, in my generation at that age, like it was my first live action at a proper age, like 13, 14, like having the Joker in live action. And for me, that's such a big deal. Cause like I said, like my favorite, you know, fictional character of all time. And like, I just remember when I first heard that voice, I just like got pure chills. And then like I remember scouring the internet and like, you know, even till now I'll still like, you know, I like to, that's the whole appeal of reaction channels. But back then there was no reaction channels yet. I don't think I saw any reaction channels, but it was just comments on YouTube saying like wow, like that's like that actually, like I think it was literally people admitting just off that 10-second voice bite, like admitting that they were wrong. And I was so satisfied off that. I was like, yeah, that's right. Even though the movie wasn't out yet. And then like that was just the first taste. And then wow, this is literally becoming my whole life story now. But the next thing was, you know, like there was eventually leaked, I think the photos were leaked. I remember the next thing, and there was a friend of mine back in elementary school at the time, a few of my friends that were really into, along with me. I was so obsessed, like detective level, of just looking up everything. This is before like I really cared about spoilers, and it is like the first time that I was like really so invested in just everything production wise. And a big thing for you guys that may or may not remember, you may it was okay, anyways, it was basically not the first, but at that time it was the biggest movie since I think Blair Witch Project to do like an online viral marketing campaign. And look it up, like you'll remember it was like this whole thing about like there's like these it's almost like some Riddler type stuff, because like they almost took some aspects of the Riddler into the Joker's approach in this, you know, where he does these like he leaves these clues and stuff or like hints about what he's gonna do next and stuff, because you know it's like to him it's all theatrics, but like there was all these news clippings with like etched in, you know, like vandalized faces on like the mayor and stuff like that, and all sorts of hints. I forgot what it was, but I think I'm trying to remember what exactly it led to, but there was this whole online like cat mouse thing, or like this whole like breadcrumb thing online that led to, you know, you had to do all these things, go to these websites and everything. This is like way back. Like I don't think that's much of a thing. I wish that was more of a thing now. They need to do that again. Like I love this, is like I don't want to say early internet. The internet's already been around for a while at that point, but it is early YouTube days, early YouTube, Facebook days. So this is like 2007 that the viral marketing campaign kind of like, you know, it had all these cool like scavenger hunts to find, I think, what was it, to reveal a picture. And I think there was one that I think it led to that first picture of the Joker, of Heath Ledger as the Joker, that kind of iconic first one of like, it's like, it was like a makeup test or something, but it's like him with like a black background. It's like this creepy looking, it's like his face tilted up and you just see the scars on his mouth, but it's like black and white except for the red on his mouth. You could look it up. Like, it's like the first Joker image released. I think it's the first official one that they released. And then that, I was like, whoa, what is that? Like, that looks creepy. Like, you know, like they never did the, what do they call it? The black, what is it? The Black Dahlia or Glasgow smile, whatever. Like, you know, the whole, like the cut edge of the mouth smile. They hadn't done that in other incarnations. In other ones, it was just the bleached skin. But this is the first one where, you know, it's going for a grounded take. So they wanted some level of him to look jokery permanently. So that's the smile. But he puts on makeup, which is obviously a different take. He doesn't have the bleached skin. He didn't fall into a vat of chemicals. But, yeah, I was just so obsessed with that. And then the next thing, I think, then there was other pictures revealed. Another thing was, like, I think there was a picture of him behind, there was, like, a picture, behind the scenes set photo of him. I think it was literally the bank heist scene at the beginning, but it's, like, behind glass. So it's, like frosted glass. So if you look up, Joker set photos from that, you can see a picture of him behind frosted glass. And that was one of the first behind the scenes photos that I can remember. I don't know if it was a leak or I think they intentionally revealed it, but it was like, you know, it's not ominous, but it's like it's a little secretive. And it kind of only showed a blurred image of him wearing, like, you know, the gray suit that he wears at the beginning of the movie, and the camera's looking at him, but like behind this frosted glass. So that was a cool little thing. So they're like, you know, they're kind of blue balling us. They're kind of like, you know, come on, just give it to us. And then eventually, guys, this is what I'm leading to. Before I even say about the movie, like that first teaser trailer, and online, actually on YouTube, they have it wrong. Like I can confirm. Some of the videos have it right, but there's some that have it totally wrong, the labeling of the trailers on YouTube at this point. That's how much of an original OG I am. The official, okay, it's hard to explain. The first one is a teaser, right? That teaser, that's just the bat, is the first thing. The second thing, I'm such a geek of this, like I even remember the length of the videos. If you want to see the actual second trailer, the first one that shows full live action is trailer. They call it teaser 1 or trailer 2 or teaser 2. It's usually number 2 though. It's usually number 2. Teaser 2. But YouTube has it sometimes labeled as 3 or 1 or whatever, but it's the second teaser. First real trailer, second teaser. It's 2 minutes and 8 seconds long. Look that one up. 2 minutes or 8 or 9 seconds long. 2 minutes and 8 or 9 seconds long. That's, geez, like the fact that I know that. But it's the one where it starts off with that sound. And then I just remember I was sucked in as soon as, like, you hear that, you know, that theme from Batman Begins, the Hans Zimmer, the and then you just, before there's even any image, it's just on black, and the Joker's like, you've changed things. And then it, like, shows, if ironically, the last shot of the movie of Batman on the Batpod, the Bat Cycle, or Batpod in the movie as it's called, the Bat Bike, forever, and he's like, forever. And then it's like that whole voiceover, like that whole bit. Like, I don't want to, like, just turn this into me doing every Joker line. And you guys may not be able to deduce by now, I've completely memorized that movie. So you understand now why me, Bruce Wayne, is taking over the stream, because I, Bruce Wayne, am a major fan of myself. For all you listening, of course, I am wearing a Batman mask right now. But yeah, like that movie, it truly did change things forever. But watch that teaser, watch that trailer back, and it, like, when I think of, like, favorite trailers, that's what came up. And that's what I was trying to get to without even saying about I can talk about the movie itself all day long, but I love that I'm more so talking about the build up, because that level of hype is being rivaled with this new movie for me. And I'm kind of scared about that, because in my mind that means that it has to be one of the best movies of all time, because The Dark Knight, whether you want to admit it or not, it's one of the best movies of all time. And I think people want to say, there's people, honestly, there's people that want to say that, oh, it's just because of the Joker. It's just because, and like, I'm not even mad at that, because obviously I'll admit he's the best part of the movie. But no, the story is admittedly equally not, it lives up. Like the whole story saying, it's like a crime saga. It's like a gangster crime mafia mob movie that's like a drama and thriller, and it's like an epic. It's like they keep making comparisons to Godfather 2 or whatever. But it's honestly, yeah, it's like, it's like 2.5, not just the fact that it's 2.5 hours long, but it's like, it's such a well written, constructed story throughout. Like the Joker's thing, I don't want to, somehow there's like spoilers at this point for that movie. This is your own fault if you haven't seen The Dark Knight. But I'll say right now, if you haven't seen The Dark Knight, please watch The Dark Knight. But, just like the whole thing of the reimagining of that character, I didn't even get into that yet, but the whole reimagining of that character totally made arguably one of the definitive, I don't want to say the definitive live action take, because I think that the thing is, and that's something I weirdly have hope for with the new trilogy, I still think that there's always room for a new take. Like, as much as I love Joaquin, and there's no one else before that. There's no one else in between Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix. No, but, Jared Leto is it's its own thing, guys. You have your opinion on that. That's not the Joker, though, guys. Maybe that whatever you say about the Snyder Cut, he's a little better, but you can't tell me that you saw Suicide Squad and you thought that was the Joker. That is Hot Topic. That is Hot Topic emo, damaged, tatted Joker. I don't even want to turn this into a hate stream, because I can get into that. But first of all, why would the Joker have tattoos? The Joker would not, in my opinion, like, obviously it's a different take, but as much as the Joker's into theatrics, that version is like, he's trying to show off that he's psycho in the way that, like, it's like a poser psycho. It's like it's literally like, it's like everything they say on the internet. It's like they went to Hot Topic and they thought, let's like take this and turn turn this into the Joker, and like make him weirdly, he has this weird like sex thing that he does in terms of like, he sits on your lap and he's like, because I think they took that thing of like, I think he kind of took inspiration, in my mind, he took some inspiration of that bit of Heath Ledger, touching that guy's face when he's like filming that camcorder footage. He's like, oh, shush. Like he did, I think he took from that, and then he like amped it up and like, we gotta turn this sexy. We gotta make Joker sexy. Because Jared Leto is like, Jared Leto is the hipster pretty boy guy, and like, he's a legitimately good actor, but I just think, and I think he could have done better with better material. But the other thing too is that it felt like he was his voice was even like trying to be Heath Ledger's a little bit. It felt like he was doing a voice, because like Heath Ledger's felt like that was just another person and it wasn't Heath Ledger. But Jared Leto doing the Joker, it sounded like Jared Leto trying to do Heath Ledger's Joker, but a little different. That's what it sounds like to me. But all respect to Jared Leto, like, I think you're a great actor if you're, because like somehow I'm that narcissistic that I imagine he would be listening to this right now. But I wouldn't be Bruce Wayne if I didn't think that everyone knows about my presence. But yeah, like, I think I don't know what DC's doing anymore. I want to say Warner Brothers. DC itself, like, people like to say DC, but it's Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is the studio that is doing all that. But there's so much potential there, and that's one thing I think that Matt Reeves nailed it, guys. I don't want to say like this is like watch me eat my words and everyone's gonna like use sound bites of me like whatever like if I'm wrong, but I'm just gonna say at this point that basically he is like okay. First of all, for those of you that don't have context of why I'm so excited, like not including everything I said, Matt Reeves is a whole other factor. He is an amazing director. Have you not seen the Planet of the Apes movies, the recent ones? If you watch Dawn and War for the Planet of the Apes, the second and he didn't do the first one. He didn't do Rise of the Planet of the Apes with James Franco. He did the second and third one. And also a movie, he did Cloverfield also. But the three movies that I would say, there's one that more so than anything gets me excited, that the fact that he made that movie is this movie from 2009 called Let Me In, which is actually a remake of a Swedish horror movie called Let the Right One In. But Let Me In is actually like, it's so good of a remake that, you know, like they never say the remake's as good, but that is one remake that they actually argue is as good or eclipses the original. And I think there could be a case against it in the case that it's very, very, very similar. But I think it's one of those things, if you watch it without having seen the Swedish one, you would love it because it doesn't fully like it definitely. I think one thing, if there's one thing to be taken away from it, from his directing standpoint, the tone that he brings to it. Watch those two movies back, and like if you you put it through a strainer and you get the difference. That difference that you get is what Matt Reeves' directing style is, and that's what look at that directing style. Watch that movie and the tone that he gets. You know, I don't want to spoil what that movie's about because I think trailers don't even really say, and it doesn't really try to tell it. It is like a horror movie though, but it's like a horror movie meets. It's like a pre-Stranger Things. It's not even like Stranger Things, I wouldn't say, but it's like a more moody, like bleak version of, it's like kids in the 80s, like in a horror movie. That's all I'll say. But it takes place in the 70s or 80s, but it's from 2009. But I would say that's more so than even the Apes movies. I'd say actually the Apes movies equally. But this movie, for some reason, I think of this movie more as like part of my hype for Matt Reeves directing the Batman. Because there's just something about the tone that he nailed. And in the Apes movies, he nailed it too. Like, it's just, we know that the Apes movies showed that he could do big blockbuster movies and make them like intelligent movies, like well written stories, well told, with a lot of character development, well directed. It's the whole package. He knows how to get a good performance out of an actor. Holy guys, Andy Serkis as Caesar in the Apes movies, come on. And that's he's playing Alfred in this, so for sure we're gonna get the sickest Alfred of all time, arguably, hopefully. I hope so. I think he's one of the more low-key inclusions of this movie that isn't being talked about, but I really hope that, I know for sure he's just being, not to say just being casted because he worked with him before, but I really hope he has a lot to offer as this new Alfred, because, Andy Serkis there's something about, it's too bad that CGI acting hasn't been acknowledged the way it should, and, he literally should have an Oscar for Smeagol. He just should. I think if anyone deserved an Oscar, it's him from Lord of the Rings. And I said it on a past stream, those are my favorite movies of all time. And then Dark Knight's right there too. But he's just amazing, and I'm excited for him in this movie. But yeah, guys, geez, we literally went for an hour. You know what? I thought I was gonna talk about more stuff than what I did. And you know what's funny? On my my list of things to talk about, I didn't even go through all the Batman stuff that I wanted to talk about. I could still keep going. One thing I'll say, we're gonna not end it right now, but the Arkham, we're doing a playthrough of Arkham right now. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, which is the only place you'd be listening to it, whether it's YouTube, Spotify, whatever, I have been playing the Arkham Asylum series, mainly just the first one so far, Arkham Asylum. And then I plan to play the other two because I bought all three at a very good price. So I have both of those. That trilogy to play, and I want to at least finish City. I think it's totally doable to finish it. In my mind, I want to finish City before the movie comes out, Arkham City, and I'll give you guys a little sneak peek too, to let you know that basically I have not played Arkham City yet, so that's exciting. And I will say though that I know some of the things that happen, but I haven't played the whole thing and I haven't had the whole experience, and I know they say that's easily the best one. Kind of like the Dark Knight. What is it about those second movies in the trilogies that are the best? Lord of the Rings is one of the ones that isn't the case though. I think Lord of the Rings has a case. Each of the three movies has a case, but mainly I say the first and third are stronger, but that's besides the point. Yeah, guys, we're gonna be playing Arkham. Expect a little skit. We have a few skits that are coming out in the next while. I've also been trying to post more of these highlights. It's definitely a lot to spool through. It's a whole other. This part of what I was saying about, like, I have more time towards the Tito work and stuff that I have to set aside. Like, it's a whole thing to, like, just regularly post on Instagram, YouTube, and like do the Twitch stuff. Not to say like I love it, but it's more just balancing it all, and like I'm in a good rhythm. But yeah, like one thing I have to do more of is I actually want to chop up more highlights from the stream, or maybe even this podcast if there's anything worth chopping up, and put them on, because we gotta plug it a little bit. Put little highlights, just little topics on either YouTube or or TikTok or Instagram, mainly Instagram. And the other thing I'll say, guys, I don't know how much I really announced it. I did want to make it a point to mention on this episode of the podcast is that if you want to stay the most up to date on what I'm doing at any given time, other than like YouTube is like, in my mind, like the way that I treat it, YouTube is like prime for the skits, right? And like the videos. Instagram, I like to give a little bit of breathing room to post before I post on Instagram, but I don't know, let me know, guys. Like, do you think it's better for me to post equally on both? Like, because I'm always like a little behind on Instagram, but the thing is, Instagram is where I post all of the stories. So there is a lot of stuff I don't do on YouTube that I post on Instagram. And I try to do as much cross-posting as I can in terms of, if you notice on YouTube, I still post updates about streams on community posts, and I'll keep doing that. But if you guys want to get more, the quickest updates, I think Instagram stories, is like the best bet. So I'd say follow me on the IG at Tito Please on Instagram, give me a follow, I might give you a little follow back. And I if you want to message me too there about whatever, I started being a little better with responding to comments too, because I noticed that I get I felt bad because I treated the IG, I said this earlier on like an early podcast, that I treated it just as like something to post on, but I didn't much treat it as my personal Instagram. But I can confirm, guys, I'm actually on the Tito Instagram as if it's my regular Instagram now. So if you want to comment on stuff, like in general, just know that I see stuff. Okay, I will see stuff. Okay, I, Bruce Wayne, will see stuff. But yeah, guys, I didn't even get through. Jeez, there's so much going on. Can I just one more thing before we go? Because I feel like I can't not talk about this, because it's gonna be a whole week again until I talk about it, guys. Oh my goodness, I saw the new, literally today, this morning, the episode, whatever the newest episode of Boba Fett is, Book of Boba Fett. Oh my goodness, that's all I'll say. I can't say anything because it's too fresh and it's spoilers, but easily best episode so far. That's all I'll say. Easily the best episode. And I'm excited for the next. I think it's episode 5. For any of you listening, episode 5. I don't think it's up for debate. This is the best episode so far. And I saw people even saying this is the best episode of Star Wars TV so far. Oh, that's a high claim. Like I could actually maybe put it up there. Like it could be up there. I don't want to say for sure, but you've probably been hearing from people that the show hasn't been great so far. So I think that might be amplifying why they love this episode so much. It's like, oh, finally. And it's not to say like I like the show, but it's like it hasn't been the best. Like to be honest, it's like they did a lot of flashbacks. You would have probably heard about that, but like it's taking a lot to get things going. It's like there's some establishing stuff, but I think they could have done a bit of a better job. And then even like the portrayal of Boba, like I love Tamura Morrison. Shout out to him, and I'm excited for everything else he's gonna be playing. Because for those of you that obviously know or don't know, he basically plays every clone of Jango Fett ever. So we're gonna be getting that Captain Rex. We're gonna be getting that Commander Cody. We're gonna be getting that everyone else that's a clone ever. I'm curious if they're ever gonna go. They probably would do some, it's so obvious now they would do the de-aging thing. If they're gonna do Clone Wars era flashbacks, but I'm excited for. I thought it was just one more episode, but I heard it's two more, so I'm even more excited. It's not just the one more episode, so it's 6 and 7. I think I don't want to say, but like I have reason to believe it's gonna be a big deal. And the thing I was debating, guys, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I kind of want, I half want to because I don't want to miss out on doing it if it could be cool. Is, I'm not much like I love watching reaction channels, but I don't know. Let me know if anyone that's listening through at this point, let me know. Like anyone listening to the podcast up till now, like let me know if it's a thing that you would want me to even do reactions in any capacity. I might do a poll on IG or YouTube. I think that's a smart thing to do. But let me know in the comments too of this video or anywhere. Let me know anywhere if you would think that it could be neat for me to do reactions, because I actually kind of want to. I feel like it could be cool because obviously from this you see that I'm able to talk about movies and stuff all day long, and especially if it's stuff I'm really into, because I think I have reason like the fact just giving you an idea of like how good this episode was and how good I think the next few episodes are going to be. I think is a big reason why I want to do reactions, at least for like really special things, even like trailers maybe. But the thing is that I don't know if I want, and I know that, because I feel this as like a viewer of channels too, that I know that sometimes when people do different content on their channel, it turns people off. And guys, I'm no stranger. I know that I'm losing a lot of subs. Okay, I don't need to dance around it. So people have commented about it too, but I know, and it's whatever. To me, honestly, it's like it's one of those things. I view it like I built up this following. I've been doing these videos for 4 years, and if there's gonna be a change in direction, then so be it, And it's like I'm not gonna change. I'm not gonna make a whole other channel when I still am gonna make content. Like I kind of want to like form this channel the way it's gonna be. And like hopefully it becomes a cohesive thing that people understand what I'm doing. That I just want to make it the most. I just want people to hopefully get what I'm doing. But for those of you that are sticking around that care enough about me to not unsubscribe, shout out to you. You goated. But and if you want to unsubscribe too, that's your choice, baby. Do what you want. That's your life. But yeah, I'm glad that I'm like. That's not even a factor of me doing these videos still. It's like, hey, I can lose all the subs I want, baby. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm just more excited. I'm more excited that like if anything, I'm kicking it into higher gear with the content than ever before. But I don't know. I'm debating if I post little clips, like whether it's like framed as a skit or something, like that's what I did for a few of them. But I think some people also like maybe just straight up like acknowledge it in the title that it's it's this kind of video. So maybe I'll do. We'll see. We're gonna find out. That's one thing I'm exploring. I don't know. I'm giving you literally the first peek in my mind about that. Like I have not said this anywhere else. Like this is literally the first knowledge I've announced out loud. Besides a few friends that I have plans to do. Possibly do reactions somewhere, maybe on another channel. I don't know in what capacity. I don't even know. Who knows? Maybe it'll just be Instagram Reels or highlights, TikTok Reels, highlights, even YouTube thing. Like, because I know I want it to be, because I don't want to bombard people too, because I know that people sometimes, have different interests in what they want. Because I know people have told me like, they like people that only post once a week or whatever. So that's a whole other thing. Maybe make another channel. We'll see. But guys, we're doing this together. We're figuring this out as we go. But as always, guys, we have gone Oh, this is a short one. Only 15 minutes, over an hour. I had this thing where I kept thinking it had to be an hour. Like, an hour is a sweet spot, but I don't know. I like, maybe, the more I do these, the more I get comfortable with them, the more I want to talk. So I'm glad. I love doing the podcast, guys. And I do this for you. For you specifically that is listening right now. I do this for you in particular that are listening. If your ears have been blessed to this point or cursed to this point, whatever it is that you want to perceive it as, I'm doing it for you in particular that cared enough to listen to my voice. So, and let me know in the comments that if you've heard to this point. So I appreciate you. But thanks so much, guys, for listening. I'm Tito Bruce Wayne, Batman, vigilante Bruce Wayne Batman. And guys, we're gonna be playing some Arkham. I'm gonna be posting a skit this week, posting a lot of fun videos in the next while. But yeah, stay tuned, guys, and appreciate you all. Hope you all have a good week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and yeah, stay blessed, guys. Stay absolutely blessed, guys. And I'll catch you later on the flip side. I'll catch you on the streets of Gotham. See you around, guys. Later.